Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we discuss something rare, even by the standards of FP Journe. This is the Octa Automatique Réserve de Marche, and it's not just a 38 brass movement. This 38mm brass movement, Réserve de Marche, features straight Cotes de Geneve. In my experience, based on the accounts I've heard from other collectors, Journe specialists, the watches that have crossed my desk over the years, I believe that the number of these made with straight as opposed to circular Cotes de Geneve is somewhere between 100. It's at least 100, but less than 150. And you can see that this watch is one of the earliest examples with a case manufacturing code of 01. That's the year the case was made. And of course, the first year for this watch was, you guessed it, 01. So we are talking a very collectible and early model. 38 millimeters in diameter. Everyone seems to want the 38 now that you can't have it anymore. 10.3 millimeters thick, 44.6 from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. The watch wears well on my wrist. The strap is stiff, it's not broken in, so I'm pulling it tight. But even with the strap pulled tightly, you can see these lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. These are very unisex viable watches. For him, for her, it's a power watch, no doubt. It'll wear on a wrist, in my opinion, as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference and easily fit under a dress cuff. The strap is meaty. You can see large scale, though not rectangular and symmetrical. A different kind of cut of the animal here with a semi-gloss medium blue. You could see a folded edge with a monotone stitch, and then small round scale alligator leather on the bottom. Round scale used on the bottom because it lasts longer than calf. A much more expensive strap by hundreds of dollars when you've got round scale on the bottom, but it also lasts that much longer. And this watch deserves the best. Journe cases always feature lugs drilled close to the case, so curved spring bars are used to ensure that there's no impediment to the motion of the strap, even straight down. Drilling closer to the case moves the pivot points inboard for better small wrist fit. And of course, we have pull tab spring bars so you can pop the strap off without tools. We have a rose gold pin buckle, and you can see the quirky inboard hallmarking from that era. Now, the watch itself is familiar. Journe cases don't vary much, at least with the dress watches. And you can see we have a symmetrical domed case back, domed bezel, the flanges of each defining the mid case, blended Calatrava-style lugs that turn 90 degrees from the horizontal sweep of the case band, Journe's famous unbranded double dimple knurled crown, all this 30 meters water resistant. You can see likely at a later date it was updated to the later Holt head screws on the case back. The dial is white gold, and you can see it's got nice media blast finish. Journe's dial design was initially a little bit controversial. The idea of having assembly hardware on the dial side, controversial at first, then widely admired and ultimately broadly copied. He's always been a trendsetter, and not just in the watchmaking aspects of his business. He's also a style trendsetter. We have a polished steel bezel surrounding a silver guilloche center, and you can see we have the hours, minutes, and seconds there with a pyramide, clou de Paris at center, and a flush disc double-digit date. Now, there is a quick set for that. This has one of the conventional FP Journe power reserves, so it's not like one of the chronometer watches where it indicates 0 when fully wound. This will indicate 120 when fully wound. I'll also say this, 120 is the chronometric power reserve on the Octas. That's been the case since the beginning. If it's fully wound, it will run for about 160 hours before it actually stops. So that is there to encourage you to wind it at least once every 5 days, and we'll go into that in a moment. Journe does not equip the watch with hacking. He didn't think that was necessary. You can see that there's a little bit of patina on these dials. They tend to discolor in ways that are a bit random from example to example. This example is in good shape. It's got a little bit of character, but nothing I would describe as damage. All of this, particularly the discoloration on the silver elements, it's got a little bit of a nostalgic feel. For those who remember the earliest days of the brand, we had all sorts of weird things in the early days. We had discoloring subdials, we had discoloring varnish, we had printing that seemed to float above the dial, all sorts of weird streaks and gradients formed. These early Journe watches are very much the origin of the species, including in manufacturing technology. Also, you can see this is a French-made case, one of the Eleanor cases. That's Eleanor's maker's mark, and then we have the French double eagle hallmark there, plus the Swiss St. Bernard head right there. That's because these cases, right up until about mid-2008, were made in France by Eleanor, Journe's longtime supplier. Journe later bought the company and moved it to Geneva, but that is the story of these cases. And of course, about mid-2005, Eleanor stopped stamping the case back with the case year of manufacture, but from the beginning to '05, about mid-2005, you would see that Automatique is the reference. Journe references are remarkably short and simple. Now we have a 22-karat rotor with a grand doge, or barley corn cut, and then we have the straight Cotes de Geneve. There is a sticker on this case back, so if you're wondering what these bubbles are all about, it's that. This movement is really raw. In terms of how it's beveled, no attempt has been made to polish or diminish the milling marks. This is very much early FP Journe, all about the innovation and a George Daniels type attitude about finishing. That said, it is mechanically competent. It has a massive balance that beats at 3 hertz. It makes up in mass what it lacks in beat rate. It's free sprung for durability and precise setting, and it is adjusted in a chronometer style 5 positions, so that is clear right there. This is the very earliest version of the caliber 1300, so bidirectional winding, that went away around mid-2007, but also brass movement. What makes this really early is the straight Cotes de Geneve. This is a trophy piece for someone's collection of Journe watches. Also important to note, the movement has one enormous meter-long mainspring that's only about 1 millimeter thick. Now, the idea here, Journe didn't want to have to complicate this with a remontoir or a fusée, and he'd often said that it's almost impossible to make an automatic movement keep chronometer time. And you might say, well, many automatic chronometers are certified, but he would respond that, yeah, but during the COSC test, they're wound every day. When a watch is actually on your wrist, it's going to be in some weird state of wind that varies immensely. Sometimes it might have 1 day of power reserve. Sometimes it might have 3, 4, or even 5, and be anywhere between those extremes. So forced the escapement becomes a challenge, and consistent timekeeping of an automatic watch that's actually worn as opposed to tested in a chronometer lab, it's going to be very variable how much force gets to the escapement, especially if you only have one mainspring in a single barrel. His solution was to come up with a super thin but super long mainspring that would have a super flat torque plateau. So instead of something like this, and that flatness is between 0 and 120 hours. And so as long as you're in that zone, it doesn't matter what the state of wind of the watch is. It will deliver constant force to the escapement. And the reason this watch isn't rated to 160 hours power reserve is because the flat plateau of torque only exists between those marks on the dial. You can't let this thing run past 120 hours and stay in that torque plateau. So that was Journe's idea. But it is very effective and very practical in terms of making an automatic watch run like a chronometer when it's actually worn. A very special piece and very cool. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.